Kansas, gateway to Oz. Under the rainbow, this is where it was. Hollyhocks and red ripe tomatoes, hand-churned homemade ice cream. Let me tell you, Kansas is more than tornadoes. It's the best part of Dorothy's dream.
Today on Around Kansas, we start with the story of the James Gang Train Robbery in 1874. Next, let's take a look at Wilson Lake, located mostly in Russell County, and built for flood control, but also used for wildlife management and recreation. Then enjoy a poem from Ron Wilson, and we'll end with the 5 cowgirls recently inducted into the Kansas Cowboy Hall of Fame. Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment brought to you by Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, just a short drive down the Yellow Brick Road. Wednesday, early in the morning. I'm Frank.
I'm Deb.
And this is Around Kansas.
The last day in November.
Oh my, already. Here we go.
Here we go. I can't believe where has this year gone.
Yeah.
It's one for the record books, I'm telling you.
It is. It just disappeared.
Disappeared. And here we are, smack dab in the Christmas season now. And you can see we're in the Dillon house, and they're ready for a party here. Mm-hmm. They're going to be awfully busy during Christmas, and it's so pretty. I think Porterfield's decorated again. Yes. And nobody does it better than they do. And just to get in the Christmas spirit, I want to remind you of Lecompton's Christmas display at the Lane University Historic Lecompton's Museum. They have 100 and some Christmas trees on display. That'll be through January 1st. It is a phenomenal display, and don't forget them and our other sponsors when you're doing your Christmas shopping, and especially the 3 or 4 museums that we have who are our sponsors, because they have a wonderful gift shop in Lecompton, and they've got the great little ornaments for Lecompton that are just beautiful, and lots of other great little history things to put in the kids' stockings. And then, of course, we have the Fort Wallace Museum, which has great books, and again, lots of really cool stuff. The museums in Oakley, the Fick Fossil Museum, and the Buffalo Bill Cultural Center. And so there are great books and mugs and just a lot of really neat items. And I know people are always looking for something unique, and so don't forget them. And then, of course, all of our other sponsors, the Western Wear. I thought about doing a segment. I did an article like this one time years ago when I was a reporter for the Mount Airy News, they were still setting type and, all that good stuff back in the ancient times. And I went to the hardware store to look for gift ideas. And my editor just loved this because, I had oil lamps. Oil lamps are just my favorite. And there's just so many cool things you can find in a hardware store for Christmas gifts, flashlights, buckets, metal pails and all these cool. Wouldn't you love to get a metal bucket for Christmas, Frank? Just yes. A bucket to carry your stuff in.
Put that on the list.
Put that on I bet that's real high on your list right there. But I'm telling you, honey, you can put a big red bow on it and anything will make a present.
That's true.
Just put a bow on it. They'll be happy. Yeah, they'll be happy. Yeah, right. My family's very excited to open my gifts. You can tell.
Yeah, it's okay. So anyway, we have some stories today. Actually, we have some stories. We have one coming up about Jesse James.
You just can't have Christmas without Jesse James, can you? Yeah.
I mean, I don't know where that came from, but where we were, but it is coming up, yeah.
It is.
It's an interesting story.
Oh, everything about Jesse is interesting. Everything we do is interesting.
Yeah, but I still think one of the more interesting stories is the fact that there really are people who believe, and I became one of the believers just because, we had talked in another show about forensic science, and there is a guy that lived out his life in Kansas that they really do believe was Jesse James.
Well, they're deluded, but anyway.
We'll see. Who knows? Watch Ag AM in Kansas online at agaminkansas.com.
Buying a car shouldn't be this hard. And at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, it isn't. It's actually awesome. Whether you want a new or used car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. Even if you want to custom order a new car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. See Toby's team at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're awesome.
Lecompton. The name was splashed across newspapers throughout America and Europe. It was debated in the halls of Congress. Lecompton interprets its unique territorial history with 2 museums and other sites. Events throughout the year celebrate history and community. Visit the Territorial Capitol Museum, where more than 70 trees are displayed with thousands of antique and vintage ornaments, and be sure to stop in the gift shops in both Lecompton museums. Spend the day in historic Lecompton, shopping, eating, savoring the rich history.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
Welcome back. And speaking of Jesse James living out his life in Kansas, which is totally bogus, no matter what the History Channel said, the Jameses didn't spend a lot of time in Kansas because Kansas was full of Yankees, Union veterans, and having been Confederate guerrillas. And Jesse James did not ride with Quantrell. I don't care what you heard. No, he did not. He did ride with Bloody Bill Anderson, but not Quantrell. And I keep seeing that over and over. In fact, it was on some quiz show the other day, about Jesse riding with Quantrell. Nope, nope, nope. All right.
She was there.
I was there. When they rode by the house, I'm like, where's Jesse? He's not with you. So, no, he didn't. But the reason, seriously, that the Jameses didn't come over into Kansas very often to loot and plunder and steal and all this stuff, it wasn't safe. They try to keep their activities to a place where they can disappear into the countryside and somebody's going to take care of them. They can hide out with, friends or relatives, former Confederates, Confederate sympathizers, where they're a little safer. Kansas, not so much sympathy in Kansas. So they didn't spend much time over here except for the story we've got today, where they did come over to Kansas to ride a train. In early December of 1874, 5 members of the infamous James Gang rode to Muncie, a small town 12 miles west of Kansas City. Their target was a Kansas Pacific train carrying a Wells Fargo safe. At Muncie, they robbed the Wells Fargo safe on a train that had been halted on the tracks. A gold watch belonging to a messenger was returned to him with the explanation that it was personal property. The gang rode away with a wave and a shout. "Goodbye, boys. No hard feelings. We have taken nothing from you." The state of Kansas and the Kansas Pacific Railroad joined Wells Fargo in offering rewards. The state of Missouri cooperated in trying to track down the robbers, but it was only by accident that one actually was arrested. William Bud McDaniel, a.k.a. McDaniels, was the son of a Kansas City saloon keeper and had a brother who also rode with the James Gang. Just days after the robbery, he was stopped by a police officer for rowdy behavior and public drunkenness. McDaniel was carrying 4 revolvers, 6 dozen cartridges, over $1,000, and some jewelry from the safe. He was sent to Kansas to stand trial. This was not completely welcome news in Kansas City, where officials were intimidated by the James Gang and generally willing to look the other way. In fact, McDaniel had been drinking with the chief of police on the day of his arrest. McDaniel was jailed in Lawrence, Kansas, enough distance from the Missouri border to be considered safe, but he escaped from the Douglas County Jail with 3 other men, arms, ammunition, and horses. The deputy sheriff quickly assembled a posse, and by the following day, McDaniel and another prisoner had been tracked down. Lewis Berman, a local farmer known as a good shot, described what transpired for the Lawrence Republican Journal. "I had been harvesting Monday, and soon after midday I met Constable Phillips, who told me he had just seen McDaniels and Dunn seated on a log a short distance off. I ran back to my house, got out my rifle, an old squirrel gun, and started in pursuit. I ran about a quarter of a mile. When on coming to an open space, I saw the 2 men. They saw me at the same time, and McDaniel slipped from his horse and brought his gun to his shoulder.
I took quick aim and fired. He felt the shot and almost fell forward on his face, but recovered himself immediately, pulling the trigger at me, the ball whistling over my head. Then he mounted, and together the two men dashed into the woods. The outlaw died within hours, remaining silent to the end about the identities of his accomplices in the Muncie train robbery. The old squirrel gun that killed McDaniel, actually a German Schutzen rifle, remained in the Berman family until 1958, when Lewis's nephew donated it to the Kansas State Historical Society. It is in the collections of the Society's Kansas Museum of History, who shared this account.
KFRM is one of the largest farm radio stations in the nation, dedicated to informing and entertaining rural listeners from northern Oklahoma to southwestern Nebraska. You can catch KFRM in many ways, of course, 550 on the AM dial, streaming at kfrm.com, or on your smartphone by going to the TuneIn Radio app, or on Ag AM in Kansas on Tuesdays and Facebook every day of the week. KFRM, tune us in. You'll be glad you did.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
ValleyVet.com, ValleyVet.com, Valley Vet Supply.
Buffalo Bill Cody earned his legendary title in Oakley. Bring the family and come celebrate Oakley's pioneering history and unique geography at two sites, the Buffalo Bill Cultural Center and the Fick Fossil Museum. Cody's statue marks his achievements and welcomes visitors to the Cultural Center. The Fick Fossil Museum houses world-class fossils and artifacts. You'll find Oakley at the hub of U.S. Highways 83 and 40 and I-70. Stop for the legend. Stay for the day. Discover Oakley. This segment brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. Here we are again. It's Wednesday, and this is Around Kansas, in case you just tuned in. Ask, who are those people? So, anyway.
We got to get a billboard. That reminds me, Frank. I was thinking of that again when I was riding out I-70, and there's our friend Brent Harris from Dodge City, who's just all over the place. I talked to Brent on the phone the other day, but it's like, we need a billboard, Frank.
We need a billboard.
We need a billboard.
Big billboard.
A big billboard. That's right, a big billboard.
So, anyway, but this show really is about Kansas and its people and places and things to do and all of that.
Around Kansas.
And really, there are a lot of places to go in this state. And I'm going to get to do a story about one of those places, and you really should go there. It's an absolutely beautiful place, and it really is, well, what do we want to say, diverse somewhat in its topography. And
again, for all those folks that think Kansas is flat, and after watching the show for a month or two, I don't know how you could possibly still believe that. But this will put to rest forever about flat Kansas, won't it?
Yes, it will. Well, and part of it is managed by Kansas Parks and Wildlife, and the others by the Corps of Engineers as well. And so it's both federal and Kansas managed. But nevertheless, there's all kinds of wildlife. There's all kinds of recreational activity and all that. But I'm getting ahead of the story.
And as you will see, it's a perfect place for photographers.
Oh, yes.
So the photographers, we're just getting so many gorgeous photos from around the state. Share yours with us on our website, on our Facebook page, Around Kansas. Email them to us, but we love seeing the photographs that you take all over the state of these gorgeous places.
Well, and we'll probably use a lot of Greg Rude's work in this particular story.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful. We love you, Greg. You do amazing stuff.
Whenever folks claim Kansas is flat, pull out one of Greg Rudd's photos of the jagged landscape surrounding Wilson Lake. It's one of those scenes that make the unknowing scratch their heads in disbelief, and it's only minutes north of Interstate 70 on the Post Rock Scenic Byway west of K232. Located in the heart of the Smoky Hills, Wilson State Park is located in Russell County with a small arm extending into Lincoln County. The Saline River is both the reservoir's primary inflow in the west and the outflow to the east. Smaller tributaries include Elm Creek, which flows from the south into the western part of the reservoir, and Hell Creek, which feeds the reservoir's southeastern arm. The Corps of Engineers manages 3 parks at Wilson Lake: Lucas Park, Manuka Park, and Sylvan Park. Lucas Park is located on the north shore of the reservoir's eastern end and includes the Rocktown Natural Area. Manuka Park, named after the Oto word for good earth, lies on the south shore of the central part of the reservoir. Sylvan Park lies below Wilson Dam immediately northeast of the reservoir. Both Lucas Park and Manuka Park host swimming beaches and boat ramps. All 3 parks include hiking trails and camping facilities. The Corps of Engineers also operates a visitor center located below Wilson Dam near Sylvan Park. Considered by many to be the most beautiful in the state, Wilson Reservoir features a rugged shoreline punctuated by scenic cliffs and rocky outcrops. The park and surrounding wildlife area offer the opportunity to view and photograph deer, pheasant, waterfowl, songbirds, and fur bearers. Wilson Reservoir offers excellent white bass and striped bass angling. The Cedar Trail in the Oto area is a 1-mile loop with a concrete surface and is great for a leisurely, low-stress walk. The 25.5-mile-long Switchgrass bike trail, that's the Switchgrass bike trail, is popular with mountain bikers to pursue this challenging activity. The Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks operates Wilson State Park, located on the south shore of the reservoir's eastern end. The park is divided into 2 areas by the reservoir's southeastern arm, the Hell Creek area on the west side and the Oto area on the east side. The Hell Creek area hosts a marina. Both areas include hiking trails, swimming beaches, boat ramps, and camping facilities. Hunting is permitted on the public land around the reservoir, although it is restricted in certain areas. Wilson Wildlife Area is located on the upper end of the reservoir. The 8,000-plus acre public hunting area is made up of rugged rolling hills of native prairie cropland and riparian timber along the Saline River, Cedar Creek, Turkey Creek, and Elm Creek. The area has a waterfowl refuge that was established in 1996.
There's a lot of different ways of doing this woodwork, but I could not make a knife without both hands, especially without this thumb. And my thumb was so sore that I couldn't even touch it, and they wanted to fuse it, and I said no, cut it off, because I didn't want it sticking up. And I found out about the Kansas regenerative stem cell and went to Manhattan and had that taken care of in my thumb, and now I'm able to go again.
Fort Wallace stood on the frontier in the midst of the Plains Indians Wars on a major stage route and rail line. Beside the 1865 stagecoach station, a modern museum with thousands of artifacts tell that story, like the fossil of a 40-foot plesiosaur is suspended from the ceiling. Located on Highway 40 midway between Hayes and Colorado Springs, the Fort Wallace Museum is as welcome a sight today as the fort itself in the 1860s. Discover the fightingest fort in the West. This segment brought to you by Kansas Grain Sorghum, growers working together. Find out more at ksgrainsorghum.org.
Howdy folks, I'm Ron Wilson, Poet Laureate. Those of us who live out here in the middle of the country get used to one thing, and that is the weather's going to change. This poem is entitled, Just Wait a Minute, It'll Change. We've had lots of winter weather, so when we got a thaw, the chance to get outside was really quite a draw. It felt like cabin fever, so I was glad to get outside. Cleaned a feeder, built some fence, and managed to get in a horse ride. I stripped down to my shirt sleeves and got a whole lot of good work done and found it was the spring's first exposure to the sun. The next day I was in the house a-paying some ranch bills when I heard a clap of thunder roll across the nearby hills. I tuned into the weather, and they proceeded to inform that a wave of snow might follow a local thunderstorm. I just shook my head and went back to working on the books when what I saw out the window made me take a second look. Big, fat, wet snowflakes were falling from the sky, It looked like a full-fledged blizzard passing by. I finished up my paperwork and bundled up to do my chores and found the sun shining brightly across the great outdoors. It made me think about the weather pattern in this Kansas land. It'll change so dadgum fast that it is hard to understand. And I said to my wife as the weather made its turn, you know you live in Kansas when it snows on your sunburn. Happy trails.
Tallgrass Commodities offers producers bulk commodities at a reasonable price with reliable service throughout the whole Midwest. To find out more about Tallgrass Commodities, visit tallgrass.us or call 785-494-8484.
Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter. Back again.
For those of you who are not informed yet, this has been and still is the year of the cowgirl. Mm-hmm. So every year, the Kansas Cowboy Hall of Fame, and what a distinguished group of honorees that is, inducts the cowboys, the entertainers, the working cowboys, people who've been involved in advancing Western heritage and culture and working in traditional Western jobs. It honors those folks. And this year, it decided to turn to the women and honor them. And man, those were some tough decisions because there are a lot of women in Kansas that fit the bill. So Dodge City, the Boot Hill Casino, which is amazing. You know, we went into Boot Hill Casino, Michael and I did, and he won money right off the bat. I was so jealous of that boy. We had a really good prime rib, too, there in the restaurant. So this was awesome. An awesome event, and congratulations to these amazing ladies. Yeah. Let's take a look at the honorees.
5 legendary Kansas cowgirls were honored this month for their contributions to the Western lifestyle as they were inducted into the Kansas Cowboy Hall of Fame in Dodge City. Kansas Cowboy Hall of Fame inductees are selected by a committee in 5 different categories. Each inductee has contributed significantly to the Western heritage lifestyle and preservation of the cowboy culture in Kansas. They personify cowboy ideals of integrity, honesty, and self-sufficiency. The year of the cowgirl, the 2016 inductees are Vicki Johnson of Holcomb, Kansas, working cowboy or cowgirl. Jane Koger, Matfield Green, cattleman rancher. Margie Roberts Hart of Chase County, Kansas, rodeo cowboy cowgirl. Joyce Thierer, Emporia, Kansas, historian. Martina McBride, Sharon, Kansas, cowgirl, entertainer, or artist. The induction ceremony was held at the Boot Hill Casino and Resort Conference Center in Dodge City. Special guest, Diana Vella, Ph.D. from the National Cowgirl Museum and Hall of Fame, was the featured speaker. Other Year of the Cowgirl events included a concert by Martina McBride and tours of Dodge City made possible by a generous grant from ITC Great Plains. ITC President Brett Leopold said that ITC is proud to partner with the Kansas Cowboy Hall of Fame to recognize these 5 outstanding women and their contributions to the state of Kansas, Western heritage lifestyle, and preservation of the cowboy culture.
How quickly it goes. I'm Frank.
I'm Deb.
And this is Around Kansas. Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.
Under the rainbow, this is where it was. Hollyhocks and red ripe tomatoes, hand-churned homemade ice cream. Let me tell you, Kansas is more than tornadoes. We're the best part of Dorothy's dream.